Hi, hello.
Hello, welcome
Welcome.
to the dungeon.
Yeah, welcome to
All
another
right.
episode of the Dungeon. Yeah, we're on someone else's channel. We're visiting over here. Our host is taking care of us today when we ran into some technical issues. Shout out! Should be a dungeon master tip. Is take care of other dungeon masters as they do so much for you. But this is the dungeon where we talk all things TTRPG. I'm one of your hosts, Harlan Kelly.
And I'm Andrew Orbital.
There we go.
And with us today is our guest, who we are guesting with, Cody Stone. Thank you so much for being on the show and for making it happen in the first place.
Well, guys, my pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for the chance to just hang out and talk with you, and thank you for being amenable. And I appreciate the go with the flow DMing. We can't do it on one channel. We'll jump to the next one.
Exactly.
So
The improvised session
all
in
about
real
it.
life. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes. I
you're the
Please go ahead.
you're the dungeon master of RepRPG over there. And a thing we ask all our guests to start off the program is, how did you get into tabletop role playing games?
Ooh, I've always enjoyed fantasy as a kid, and my parents actually played D&D before I was born. And so when I was growing up, they were like, "Yeah, we did that, we did that," and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds really awesome." So like third edition came out, and I was in middle school, and I went and got all the books, uh, and nobody would play with me. So I would just sit and like read the manuals by myself and like make up stories. And I was like, all right, like I was, I would do the GMing equivalent of like the little girl's tea party,
Yeah,
right? Like I'd get my action figures out and I'd be like, okay, here we go.
it's like there's like a
Um,
scene in Community like that when they do the
yeah,
dungeon master of like Abed like playing with stuffed animals. That's so great.
yes,
Your parents wouldn't play with you though.
exactly.
They played and they wouldn't. You or did
they
you not
they
want it?
they
Yeah.
were very serious. They were
They're
very
like,
serious adults by then. That was and I should have been, if I wanted to play with them, I needed to be born earlier. So let's
oh man, brutal. They're like,
um
we already did it. We already.
yeah, we're all right with that.
Mhm.
So like I played in the early days of the internet. You played in chat rooms, you played on message boards and stuff like that. And when fifth edition came out, I was in a good place, and I had a group of theater friends, and like, so I think it was even the like the next D&D next, which was like the
Yeah.
precursor to the like transition. They're like,
Hmm.
here's all our playtest materials, go give it a try. And I'm like, cool. And so I started running there, and then I started running at a game shop for about 6 months, and then I started doing a West Marches style campaign. I'd seen a Matt Colville video about it, and I suddenly had 20 players, 25 players, and I was GMing 6 nights a week. And the nights I wasn't was when I was like, oh, I need to sleep. Please leave me alone. I am tired. So I did all that, and we started the channel, and I got a real like deep crash course in that year of just playing so much, that I was like, okay, this works, this doesn't work, this is good, this is not my style, here's where I excel, here's where I fall back. And that and my performing background meshed really well together, and did well.
Very
That's
cool.
so cool.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing crash course, like some kind of DM boot camp or something.
It really was. It suddenly was like juggle players coming in and out, try to get a short session or a two session. I find that one shots are never one shots, it's always
Oh
a two
no,
shot.
no. Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, we can do this in one, and like, no, we can't, we're
No,
gonna do
never,
it in two.
never. Yeah.
Yeah.
So doing those, and then different people, different styles, and it was constantly mixing and shifting. And those early players were really good sports about it, and their veracity and joy playing was what made me go, hey, you know what, I love watching these people tell stories. We should share this. So
That's awesome,
Cool.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we came to the same conclusion where now whenever we run quote unquote one shots on our stream, we just all there are just always two shots. Because
Always
that way
do.
it takes all the pressure off and you can set up a nice cliffhanger, and it seems to work so much better. Trying to cram a game into one session can a lot of times you just start having to railroad people and stuff.
Yeah, that is very true. So I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and you've DM'd.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go for it, Andrew. Go for it, Andrew.
No, you go. I've been hogging everything.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I loved hearing that too because you've DM'd in so many different contexts. I think like approaching it with how you're playing the game so differently, and I think that I think a thing I've learned after running a game on stream, and also I've started running running games for people I don't know. Like my not just like my friends, but like in different contexts. And I love it so much because I just realize how much the game allows you to, how much the table changes with whoever is at it and how you're playing a different game almost if you're able to connect with these people in different ways. And if you're streaming rather than just like hanging out in the same physical place, like eating snacks with friends. And I'm just interested, like, do you feel like there's anything that has stayed true for you in all of these different types of DMing and gaming that you're like, well, I know that like this is kind of a rock for me, or like I always kind of do this or approach things this way?
A couple of things I think are always true, because when we started the channel long before the days of disease and despair, so where I'm at is in my house. We built an in-house studio to have all the players at the same table, and that was what we wanted to do, right?
Whoa.
Was we did the hard schedule thing, all local people, right, come in and we'll all be at the table, and it was very different. And then going digital and the talking heads, and even before that, with the game shop people, I think a few things are always true. One, people love a funny voice. That's just
yeah.
That's a nice simple one. If things have gone terribly wrong, find an NPC, find a funny voice, we'll get back on track, right? And it doesn't matter. What I find true is it doesn't matter what the players care about. They care about something.
Yeah.
And if you know what they care about, then you know how to create tension, because you either put it in danger, you risk it, you enhance it, you that is the motivation. That is both carrot and stick.
Yeah.
And when they're invested in that, then no matter what the outcome is, most 99% of the time they win. Occasionally they draw. I think they've lost once, you know what I mean? And I'm fine with that. I am on their team.
Yeah.
I want them to win and succeed, but I want them to win and succeed, not easily, but in the most dramatic way possible. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, is that we will find whatever the scenario is, we'll create that tension, and then whatever the resolution is, I will treat it as though it is always intended and phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's a disappointment, it's still an important disappointment. And that allows them so much to feel to feel like heroes, to feel like warriors and fantasies and all of these things. And then if they fail, to want to feel better.
Yeah. Really well said.
That to me is that's the essence of it. That's the moment, is like the dice and the combat and all of that, and like the speeches and everything that comes into it. It's just, what do you care about?
Yeah.
And how do we make the fate of that thing, even if it's small, how do we make that impactful?
That's
and
so
I
much.
Find that yeah, go ahead.
That's so much more well said. I usually say take what they love and threaten it, but like yours is such like a softer, kinder way, because but yeah, it's like the fun thing about it is there's stakes, right? There's permanent consequences in this made up fantasy game where there's, we're just telling a story together. But because if you I think that's such a good through line too, of like when you're thinking about what players care about, you're listening to players, and it's so malleable too. Like you can do lots of different game styles with that. Like it doesn't need to be that like take what they love and threaten it. It can just be like know what they care about and challenge them to do it, or like put up obstacles for them to build with it. Like whatever the thing is, it's
Totally.
Really well said. Yeah.
And if you're being adaptable, it's like, okay, maybe they don't care about your A story, but they really care about this NPC talking horse you made.
Yeah.
So just make your A story threaten the talking horse that they all
Yeah.
love, and it all stitches together
Yeah,
nicely.
that power of transference. Like, oh, everybody loves the talking horse, but the talking horse really loves the town, and the town's on fire.
Yeah.
Can we help the town out now, please?
There you
Like,
go.
oh yeah. Let's go save the town.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
I wanna
Honeycrisp
he-
does
I
not
wanna
want to
hear
be in
about-
danger.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry. I'm just joking.
I want to hear about this because I think I'm gonna have a million questions about it, and it sounds just amazing. What can you tell us about this PvP league that you have coming up?
Yeah, so this will be our third season of the PvP League. We did it first time last year. It's a ton of fun. I made a little short intro video to a setting, and kind of built a whole premise around it. But what it is it's just the D&D combat as a sport, right? And so we've done different types of games. You think like Call of Duty, like Capture the Flag, or like King of the Hill, or like a death match, and they score points. They score points for the damage that they deal, healing that they deal, and they can like open up chests and gain boons and things like that. And so the first season was a crash course in, oh, here's some broken mechanics, and this is why 5e is not intended for PvP. We hammered
Yeah.
all of that out, and then season 2 we nailed down some game modes that really worked, and kept people sort of focused on the PvP aspects, and that has been a ton of fun. So I think what we kind of do now is we get 5 to 7 teams, and then I run a lore team. So I'll like an NPC team, and that's how I tell the story of what's happening in this greater city, the city of Oltensia, on a planet drenched in magic at the end of the universe, where they just like it's the rollerball justification, right? It's we have to fight with these things to do our politics,
yeah.
so it's important.
A scientist
Go
comes
play
out.
rollerball.
Yeah, a scientist comes out with like a dry erase board and is like, so first off, yeah.
Exactly. So there's it's a little light on the lore, but I find that everyone is really invested,
Yeah.
and some it gives people that come to the table, the battle masters, the tacticians, the min maxers, they're like, ooh, I get to do something like this. And other people still have a good time, because once you get past a couple of real cheesy things, it it's it's still dice dependent, and
Yeah.
there are some fun, not just tricks, but watching people overcome stuff. Like it's the sports narrative of Rudy just come to life with dice, and people that that enjoy this rather than that.
Yeah, because I mean, we know it as DMs, right? That like even a very broken encounter can be beaten by dice rolls. Like you can just roll your way out
Yeah.
of shit. And so
Yeah.
even like I'm sure you have to like take out Circle of the Land Druid's ability to just like always be in always be regenerating hit points by constantly being in animal form or whatever. But you still like there's still this element of sure, this thing might be broken on paper, but you have to do this. You have to roll well in order to win. You still got to get lucky to win.
There definitely is part of that.
What level are the characters?
So this season they're starting at 7th level, and they will level up every week. So in between
Whoa.
every match. So
Whoa, nice.
so they'll
Whoa.
go. We have so it's 6 weeks. So they'll end, the playoffs will be done at level 14.
Oh
Whoa.
wow, that's
Yeah.
serious. That's some serious business. So just curious off the top of your head, what are things that you've had to like nerf or like remove for balance issues?
So a couple of things. Had to adjust basically anything that incapacitated or stunned right out the gate, because
Mhm.
like a hold person that prevents a player from making any plays during the game, like that's dramatic in one way, but if it's a league, you don't get to make a play, that's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's not
Yeah, anything that's incapacitated or stunned, the current rule is that it lasts until the start of that player's turn or the first time they take damage, whichever comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Which is real. You can gain the benefits of like advantage. You can stop them from having reactions, but they will get to take their turn.
Yeah.
And so that was that. Counterspell just slows down play, and I find that in regular D&D
Whoa.
as well.
Yeah.
Because like in regular D&D, it's my lich casts Finger of Death, and it's like I counterspell. All right,
Yeah.
what level? What level is Finger of Death? I don't know. Do you know that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I find out?
Yeah.
I guess. Please go ahead. All right. Well, I do it at third level. Great. And he'll counterspell at fifth level. But does he know what level? I was like, well, just
Yeah.
stop it, please. Please. It's one
Seriously,
spell.
that
We've got 20 other turns together.
that is
So there's
every
no
conversation.
counterspell.
Oh, I like that. I like that as a real. I'm right with you. I think counterspell is just kind of inherently lame because it's like, aren't we playing this to see cool magic stuff pop off? And it's like, actually, it won't be happening in this game.
Yeah.
Right. And it's those things, like that's the thing. It's I want the players to do cool stuff, and so things that stop them from doing stuff is the stuff that I've had to been like, no, let's do less of that.
Yeah.
Let's not have arena-wide cloud effects so that everybody's blind.
And I think it makes, like, I really like that stuff in D&D games because it adds to the tension in like big moments. You know, like when a boss counterspells something that you knew you were gonna like pull off, and you're like, oh no. But you're right, especially when in like if your intention is to balance the playing field so all of these different players can bring their creative builds and do their cool things to the table. It's not doing the same. It's not providing the same like narrative moment there.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of creating that tension, instead of building that moment, it just sort of goes, wah, wah. And we're like, all right, well, I'm glad I wasted that 7th level spell on a well rolled thing.
Yeah.
For the upcoming campaign that's not PvP, that's going to be our story campaign. I'm doing no counter spell. I think it's like spell break, spell burst, and spell steal, and that'll be like a 3rd, 6th, and 9th level spell.
Whoa, cool.
And just like the basic idea is that when you go to counterspell, everybody rolls a spell casting check. Whoever wins, their spell succeeds. Everybody else's fails. If it fails, you take a d6 per spell level.
I see.
Psychic
cool.
damage. And it's just like one roll. There's no questions. We want to stop it. Everybody want to try? Great. Here it is. You get hurt. You don't. And to me, that's such a faster, like cleaner.
I think that's great.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Man, so when does this year's round start? I just want to make sure. I know we can do plugs, but I just want to make sure I watch it. I want to talk about it. Yeah.
I think it's a
so Friday night. Yeah, Friday night is the first week. We have 2 matches on Friday, 1 match on Saturday. I think our lore match is the 2nd match of Friday, and then we'll have actual like legit PvP 7:00 twitch.tv/RepRPG, RepRPG, and then 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday as well. Cool. And the matches are about 2 hours long, so it's like 55 minutes first half break, and then a 55-minute second half. So
that's awesome.
Is there player death in the PvP league?
Yes. So you score points every 10 points of damage dealt. You get a point every 5 points of healing dealt to your team and opponent team, vice versa. Right? Is a point. Opening a chest gets you points depending on what's in it, and after that, death saves that you fail score a point for the other team. Death saves you succeed score a point for your team. If you're unconscious due to going to 0, you can, at the start of your turn, you have to choose to willingly respawn and give the other team all the death save points, but you get your full turn at the starting point at full health, or you make the death save. And if you like roll a natural 20, you get 1 hit point, you get a full turn, you pop back up. You roll a natural 1, you fail 2, and maybe you respawn anyway. Wow. And a lot of matches come down to I'm very proud of the number of matches that come down to within like 5 points or less. Yeah. So it's like one respawn makes the difference, right? And we've had a lot of matches come down to that last turn that last die roll
Ooh.
where it's like, okay, this is either we're gonna win or we're gonna lose, and it's gonna be by this much. Um, so
Nice.
that's exciting.
Dang, that's so
I
cool.
like
I want to play. That's that's fun. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it is a good time. We're hoping to do more of them
yeah.
throughout the season, but we find a lot of people getting, schedule is
Oh
the
yeah. I
ultimate
mean,
enemy of D&D.
there you go.
So getting people consistently together for 6-8 weeks in a row
Yeah.
is like, whew.
Yeah. Well, man, kudos to you for really. That's just good game design. I feel like is kind of figuring out which parts need to be tweaked and trimmed to make sure it's fun for the players, and that's just I think that's impressive game design. So yeah, thanks for telling us about that. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'll say the players in the season 1 definitely pushed me, and
Yeah.
I was constantly like, oh, come on, don't. Okay, fine. Yes, I guess you can do that. You can't do it next
Yeah.
week, but you can do it now. I didn't say
Yeah.
no, right? And most of them were very good sports about it. There was 1 or 2 in our first season that were like not sporting about it, or it was
Yeah.
like, you're being purposefully obtuse.
Right.
You don't get to
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean,
I was wondering about that just because people they get very emotional in D&D combat, and when it's player versus player, I think it's one thing when the villain who has been tormenting them for multiple sessions and is controlled by the game master is kind of like dominating them. But for another player, I can see like the emotions kind of being different when you're getting absolutely worked over by fellow players' character build for sure.
I will say, so the first season we did 11 teams, and I ran the lore team, and out of those 11 teams, maybe 2 or 3 at most were they made themselves the villain of the season.
Yeah.
By and they didn't understand that. They were like, why are people mad at me? It's like, well, you're purposefully looking for loopholes in the rules to give you an advantage that diminishes the fun for everybody else. And like I try to explain it, try to talk to them, try to be like, hey man, you don't do that. And they just didn't grasp it. So it's it's tough. That was definitely a challenge, and it's one I wasn't sure I would be able to overcome. But the players that did enjoy it, the players that stuck through, the players that got the message, and then turn around, and were like, you know what, you're right. We're not going to do that. We're going to hold the rest of our teams to higher standards. Like the community really rallied around that.
That's awesome.
And held themselves to a higher level.
Yeah, I mean that's why I tell everyone like that's why I'm like come down on like homebrew things or like balance things, or I'm like a rules lawyer about some things, is because it's not to be like, oh look, I'm right, or like, oh this is outside of what I know, so I'm not gonna do it. It's because like balance is about preserving everyone being able to contribute and have fun at the table. And I think that could like you. It seems like you've been so thoughtful about prioritizing that. Like prioritizing what's fun for the players, and that's so often why I like get rid of PvP stuff, is because it just like turns it. It can like so easily turn into like, well, this person can do this thing, so it's just always like that. Like this person always gets their way, even in game. Like even if people are being like sports about it, it's just like it gets. It's not what the game designed to do, but when you have someone who's like designing it to prioritize players being able to have fun with each other, feel like there's some balance, and do it. It's just that's awesome. That seems so fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely been it's been a challenge, and like I said, the team and community have been wonderful about it.
It sounds awesome. How many players per team?
So originally it was 2 with an alternate, and there was a lot more. Like the arena did stuff. There were layer actions. I stripped all of that out. I was like, that's too much non-player stuff.
Yeah.
So now we have three players per team, 3 players on the field per team, and you can have 3 + 1. So you can have 3 players plus 1 summon or beast or familiar, or if it has a turn, you get 1.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's it. If it's anything else, it disappears. Um, yeah, so that keeps it small, keeps it focused.
I like that though, because you're still providing an opportunity people to be able to use their summon, like to conjure the animal or whatever, and you don't have to use that, but you can.
It.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, so cool. I'm excited to watch.
Like, cool, I'll use my familiar, and when it's destroyed, you can use your thing or whatever. Yeah, sounds great.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm glad you're excited about it. I'm really excited about this season. It's we did a practice match on Sunday, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, gotta rewrite these rules, these little things real quick, and I sent that out yesterday, and people were like, that looks awesome. That's on board. So I'm real excited for it. It's going to be a good 6 weeks. We take Labor Day off and then Labor Day weekend off, and so it's actually 7. But
cool,
awesome.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I can't wait to see it. Especially, I bet it builds up very nicely to the playoffs and championship with level 14 characters slugging it out. Is probably a real fireworks show.
And
sure.
It is. It's pretty epic.
And like fan favorites starting to show up. Yeah, it makes sense.
Totally. We have a question in the chat from Bardic Sway. What new book or piece of media are you interested in bringing into your next session or a campaign?
So I've always loved Spelljammer. I'm excited to see what that book has. Haven't had a chance to look at any of the spoilers or anything. It honestly might be out, and I don't know.
No, it's Tuesday. Yeah, you got some time.
Yeah, nice. Okay, good. I was like, I know I'm in the area.
The 16th. 16th
one
of
the
month.
third party. Okay, cool. One of the third party products that I'm actually bringing in for PvP for the lore team is Ultramodern Redux. It's Deus Ex Machina's games that they have a fun, very like action movie sort of 5e modern hack system. So because I get for the lore and the story and everything, being like, all right, you're all wizards, cool, this guy's got a gun and he shoots it like 45 times a second, so let's see how this goes. And it doesn't impact their stats. Like, they'll get bonus gold if they win against me, and it gives me a chance to tell a little story week to week. But I enjoy that product, and I enjoy everything that they have. And they actually put together a bundle that I've been wanting to get called Affinity. So it's like 3 modern settings with a bunch of like feats and classes and races and all that sort of stuff. And that seems really cool. I've also been eyeballing this other, I think it's kind of a Dark Souls inspired third-party book. Big eldritch horror sort of vibes and ancient monstrosities and corrupt races and stuff like that, which looks really cool. And so those would be the 2 that have me most excited. But I'll tell you, I'm genuinely looking forward to 2024 for the 50th, and to see what the revamp is, what 5 point whatever is, what 6 is.
Yeah.
You know? 5's been great, and I've really loved it. I enjoyed 4, but this is a better system, I think, and it's been so accessible. And I think taking a sander to it and going, hey, some of this makes it a little rougher. Let's smooth out the edges. That's what I'm real excited for.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I like that. We'll be plenty. You can be plenty busy with the modern campaign setting, with the space campaign setting, and then just wait for it to all reset a bit. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'll put. I just found it too. The Affinity system you're talking about, because that's really cool. So I'll put a link if you're watching this on YouTube down here to it. But we're about at time here. Andrew, if you want to pull up that random roll table chart, unless we have any more questions in chat. Cody, you have a D20 handy? All right, cool. Oh, look at those. Those are nice and big too. Chunks. Fun. Yeah.
Thank you. I've started pouring these.
Whoa.
So we started selling these. I make these. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's so cool.
Do you have a shop online?
Yeah, RepRPG.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We'll put
Just
the link down there too.
our yeah, RepRPG, and we so like yeah, oh, this one looks better with like a light through it, but I got some
Whoa.
inclusions, and we were going to MegaCon, and I was like, a lot of people have dice that they don't use anymore, and I want to get a real big D20, and I don't have it here, and I want to make a trophy. I want to take all your old dice and I want to stuff it in this, and you get a D20 for dice of a character you're never going to use again.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
that's
Yeah.
that's why I started doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rules.
I know friends
actually
who
have another
retire
question,
dice.
if I
Yeah.
can, before we do.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, those look amazing. I have one more question because I'm so hyped on this PvP system. Is there a character class which just like clearly seems to dominate? Is there just one where it's like this is kind of the one to be?
No, I will say no. A lot of people, season one, a lot of people thought barbarians because of their damage reduction, their durability, was one that people would really try to avoid, or thought was overpowered. Wizards and sorcerers are kind of go to just for the big potential of the damage. Since we put the healing in, that gave clerics a big boost. There's been a lot of clerics, not a lot of druids, a lot of clerics, but because people score when they damage you, no matter what form you're in, infinite hit points has a limited benefit to it, right?
Yeah.
And so I will say the one that caught me by surprise was fighter. The action surge damage bursting in a round,
Yeah.
and just getting an early respawn, forcing the opponents to be on the back foot, to have field position, to like all of those weird sort of things that you wouldn't have thought of as being important. Those made a big difference. And I'm honestly waiting for the team that makes archers. Nobody's made archers.
Dude.
All
Really?
spellcasters, or a lot of Eldritch Blast, warlocks, artificers, because they can give items to their team and enhance them that way. Because the teams earn gold, they get to buy magic items and stuff like that week to week. But I will say a like fighter archer or a ranger archer that just from across the map is pinging you for a point a turn, 2 points a turn, 3 points a turn. I haven't seen that yet, and I'm thinking once it shows up, people are gonna go, "Oh, that's rough."
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I've said it on
actually.
here forever
Yeah.
that fighters and rangers are underrated because their ability to do consistent damage. I've said it on here forever. So thank you. Thank you for allowing this opportunity for me to be right.
It's true. No. Our last campaign, Disasters in Danger, we had a Tabaxi fighter who was an arcane archer, clever Stitch, and his use of sharpshooter to get that bonus damage, that with at like 3 attacks, that's 30 points of damage, almost guaranteed. Like he's never missing. And it was like for a GM sitting here going, I've got 200 hit points and you're gonna do half of them in one turn.
Yeah.
That is so much. Stop it, Matthew. So I think that's why I'm like just having some PTSD about the fighter archer, and I'm like, why is nobody doing this? He killed everything. He killed everything.
Hell yeah.
Totally.
Well, cool. Let's see how you
Go
do
ahead and
then
roll,
on this
roll
on our
the
roll.
table, and we've got
Let's see. Got an 8.
An
All right.
8. I almost a 9. We've had 2 9s in a row the last 2 episodes.
It's true.
An 8. Oh, okay. And I like that you kind of already answered this for Dungeon Masters, with the way you kind of described the best way to run games. But if you had to pick one trait that makes a great player, what would it be? And I'm sure you've had a better example than anyone watching PvP, because then it's players versus players, and their traits probably are magnified. I
think there's two really important players or player positions in a party, and the best parties I've seen have It's not always the same person, not even from session to session, but you need one person that's motivated, one person that's at the table that's like, I want to get this done.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going. I'm making the decision. This is important to me. We're gonna go do this, right? And then that by itself can ruin a game. Like, can be like, we don't want to do that. You're bossy. That can be a problem. But what makes the difference, and this is what makes a great party to me, is Chewbacca. Somebody at the table needs to be Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be down with whatever we're doing, and we're blowing up Death Stars. I'm with you. We're going to weird planets. I'm with you. We're getting captured. I'm with whatever we're doing. I am here to help you make that vision happen. And that person, that player, validating the wants or the needs or the motivations of another player at the table means more to the party dynamic and means more to the motivated player than anything I could do or bring.
You're so right, because people jump on it so quick too. Like people dogpile on that. They're like, yeah, let's go do their thing. Let's go do their thing. And like there's like everyone knows who Chewbacca is, like because of Star Wars, but also because like you can tell such a story with a character without being like, we're telling my story right now. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. He has great moments. He has a story. You see him get mad when Han's thrown in carbonite. Like, he goes through some stuff, but it's never the Chewbacca story.
Yeah.
Right.
Although I would
focus
watch that
on
movie.
other people.
Yeah.
Oh, I would too. But in a D&D party, that can be next week or the next arc or the next level or whatever it may be. But having somebody to be at the table and be like, yeah, I agree. Your stuff's important. You're the chosen one. Awesome. I have no ill feelings about that. You got to save a kingdom, a plane, a castle, a whatever.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I believe you. I support you. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think that's the best answer we've had for that one for sure.
Yeah, Chewbacca. Yeah. I love it. I'm just gonna make a character that's Chewbacca now. Like that's truly my goal is now to play actual Chewbacca. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like
yeah.
I like it. I've definitely made NPCs that have been the Chewbacca where I'm like, this party needs a Chewbacca hanging out with them, and I've made NPCs that kind of follow them around and are that for sure. And you're right, that psychological effect is good. It like helps to have that reassurance instead of everyone kind of like with decision paralysis or not wanting to my Chewbacca was a bugbear. His name was Lungar.
That's
Someone
awesome.
in the chat said bugbear. He was
nice.
Like
a
nice bugbear named Lungar. But yeah, I love that answer. That's great. Cool. Well, that's about it for our show. The 30 minutes flies right by. Thank you
learned
so much
for
hosting it. Your PvP league starts this Friday, which is amazing. 7 p.m. Eastern. Is there anything else you want to plug, Cody?
So we're in our summer season right now, so it's mostly the PvP Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, we got a Vampire the Masquerade game. It's usually on Friday nights, which is a great time. We have a massive Nyarlathotep Call of Cthulhu game on Saturday nights. And then normally our D&D high fantasy is Monday nights. But that should be our fall schedule coming back after PvP. So guys, this has been a joy. Thank you for having me. And thank you for letting me ramble on.
No,
it was great.
Yeah, I learned so much today. This is incredible. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll get out of here, but if you are new to us, we have a Spelljammer game every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We've been running it for over 2 years now in our own futuristic or speculative future version of Realm Space, and so we're really excited to see what's all in the book that's coming out this month. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with us, and don't forget to tip your DMs, everybody. Tip your DMs. Do it. It's a nice thing to do. All right, later. We're out of here.